In this session, we're joined by the great and the good to talk about an incredible opportunity for you. Come along and network with the international cream of the restructuring, insolvency, receivership, bankruptcy and international asset recovery world. And there's also an opportunity for you to see how legislation impacts, in practical terms, through a series of interactive simulations. It's the international conference held by the US National Association of Federal Equity Receivers, or NAFER. And Chip is delighted to be chairing the conference again this year. It's to be held in Miami on the 1st and 2nd of March. And anyone who already works in this space or is interested in starting to do so should really come along.
Hi guys, how are you all?
Good morning. Good.
Doing great.
Rebecca, nice to see you. We're all doing great.
And you've all got much better weather than me. So I've got the grey, dark, dank UK weather, and all I can see is sunshine or nice snow or beaches. I'm not jealous at all, guys. Not jealous at all. So, Chip, do you want to give us an overview of the conference and tell us about what it aims to do for the attendees?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. This is the NAFER International Committee Annual Conference. I think it's the 6th one we've done. Actually originated from breakfast that Marchand and I had in Washington, D.C. Not the last NAFER conference that we was there, but the time before then. And it's really got a couple of key elements. The most key one really is to connect the fiduciaries, judges, and regulators in the U.S. that make big appointments with the international fiduciaries, judges, and other professionals internationally. It was really this idea that we wanted to try to create some relationships so that as people interact professionally, we hopefully could do protocols over a cup of coffee and sticky toffee pudding as opposed to spending $2 million in 10 years fighting over them. So that was really the starting thought to it. And the foundation of it, though, is, of course, taking a look at the sorts of technical issues that we're running into, the issues of the day. And so that's kind of the basis of it. And from those networking opportunities, from those relationships, I remember back to the first one we did actually in Cayman, there was 11 pieces of new business reported between attendees that met at that point. So really has grown from there. I think, as we talk to the folks on the call here, you're going to see, it's evolved. We've tried to get better, and we've tried to continue that focus on developing relationships, helping the receivership cadre to be better known throughout the world, and I think continue to develop new business for people as well.
So come on, do tell us about these extremely good-looking gentlemen that we have with us today that I can see on Zoom, which unfortunately our listeners can't see the way that I can. So take us through them.
Probably keeps people from being distracted. So, so looking at my screen, we'll start off with my friend Marchand Boyd. He is the head of global fiduciary banking and services for Axos Bank. Quite a few phenomenal things about Marchand, but the business things that are most impressive is he's really pioneered the ability for especially foreign fiduciaries, but all fiduciaries, to have the easy button towards getting cash management set up fast. And one of the things that happens with fiduciaries those early days is we're trying to take a drink of water out of a fire hose, and one of the big birds under the saddle was always when you found money trying to get it someplace safe, and Marchand made that happen, and especially pioneering it for our foreign friends. He's got some incredible success stories of huge deposits and huge wins. And so welcome, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you.
Next to him is Mr. Jonathan Perlman. Again, I don't know where to start with all the accolades. The current president of the National Association of Federal Equity Receivers. Currently the receiver over the TCA project, which is I think roughly a $250 million Cayman hedge fund receivership-y type thing. And perhaps most importantly, one of my very good friends in Miami. He and his wife Molly have been really big supporters of this conference. So, Mr. Perlman, welcome.
Thank you, Chip. Nice to be here. It's actually, TCA is actually a $500 million hedge fund. But who's counting?
You know what? Inflation does wonders. And then not least, but last, my friend Martin Trott. Martin is a partner with the Rawlinson Hunter Restructuring in Cayman. First met him in the BVIs, had the honor of being the last person on his boat before the hurricane took it a number of years ago. Again, quite a few big things. Martin, perhaps most notably currently, is one of the joint liquidators for the Cayman Platinum Funds. And I think that is that a $2 billion fraud? What was the total damage there, or still yet to be told?
Yeah, it was about $1.5 billion between investors and creditors, Chip.
All right. So inflation hasn't quite caught up to that one yet, but good enough. Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. You've all been involved in this conference and, of course, are giants in this particular niche of the professional world. And so looking forward to hearing from you.
So, Martin, I'm going to pick on you first, mainly because you're English and I know you. so you can tell me, like, you've attended this conference before. How's it helped you? Have you got a lot out of it?
Yeah, absolutely, Rebecca, and thanks for having me on. So I'm an insolvency practitioner currently in Cayman Islands, and we have offices here in the BVI and Bermuda. And I first came across this conference a few years ago. I've been attending ever since. It's been very valuable for me to meet the receivers and that profession. And I think there's two main things for me. One is connections with the receiver industry in the US. There's often cross-border matters that come up, as Chip's already referenced, that include the offshore world and the US, and often you get either parallel or sister proceedings going on, but where you've got US receivers and you've got liquidators in the offshore world. And so it's very, very important for me to know the receivers in the US, to be able to have a relationship for when issues crop up and when we need to work together. And then the second is a referral network. So to be able to meet people in the US who I can refer work to, and likewise hopefully get work referred back when we come up against these cross-border restructurings. So it's a great conference. I would really recommend it to insolvency practitioners and lawyers in the offshore world who would like to know more about NAFER. And it's very easy for us to get to Miami. So all good.
So is that everybody who should attend? Who do you think it's actually suitable for? What sort of levels and what's the scope, do you think, or the people that would benefit best from this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say anyone that comes into contact with bankruptcy and receiverships in the US. I mean, just to understand how a receivership differs from a liquidation is incredibly important and valuable, and how equity receivers differ from, say, bankruptcy trustees. Until I started to attend NAFER and talk to the NAFER colleagues, I didn't really have that sense. So I'd say anyone that works in that particular sort of cross-border bankruptcy insolvency field, it would be a very valuable conference to attend.
Yeah, certainly one would benefit. That's great. Thanks, Martin. So, Jonathan, you're the president of NAFER. And is this conference shaping up the way you wanted it to? Are you pleased with what's coming together?
Absolutely. Chip, who's chair of the committee that puts it together, does a fantastic job. And I was already looking at the attendee list so far for people that have already registered, which usually people don't register so early. But we have a great deal of early registrants, so I'm really excited. And just to chime in on what Martin was talking about as well, I don't think you can ever overstate the value of developing close personal relationships with people who are in your same industry space. And it's very clear to all of us on this broadcast that receivers work and need to work with all the offshore folk all the time, and vice versa. And this conference is really one of the best I've ever attended as far as being an intimate gathering where everyone really does become close friends with everyone else, and they do start to understand exactly how you can help each other. But also, a ton of things happen in the learning of ideas you wouldn't even have had before. And NAFER's very happy with having this conference annual, loves it. It's been a great service to our members. And we think it's been a great service to the non-U.S. People, the appointment takers and recruiters. And we've been able to help them. And it's just really been a unique thing because it's separate inside, as Martin says, from the bankruptcy avenue. And as anyone who knows this will tell you, it's a very different set of rules, but a lot of ways to get win-win if you have these relationships. It's productive. Love it.
It sounds like it's making a really big contribution to the sector, which is great. And Martin, coming from a bank, what do you find to be the most useful aspect? I mean, everybody's talking about the networking, the sort of cream of the professionals in this sector, but also you're doing a case study during this and looking at sort of the technical aspects of how things work. Which do you find the most helpful for you in attending this conference?
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. Actually, both are extremely important because, certainly the networking facilitates existing relationships and solidifying those existing relationships. I've known Chip for a number of years. He had this crazy idea to start an offshore conference related to NAFER, and it fit right within our wheelhouse. We were already providing fiduciary banking services to domestic U.S.-based receivers, trustees, other types of court-appointed and non-court-appointed fiduciaries. But as he kind of explained some of his connections, some of his cross-border engagements and the professionals that he was engaged with at that time, specifically in Cayman and BVI, it was exactly what we were doing in terms of, the services that they needed as it related to banking. So the conference itself, the international conference itself, has allowed me to meet and engage with cross-border international fiduciaries like Martin, for instance. I've had the distinct pleasure of being able to claim Jonathan, Martin, and Chip as current clients. But Martin was one in particular right before COVID. I think we had known each other from various circles, but we really had a chance to connect and engage. And from that, we're able to form a business relationship moving forward. And I've been able to, or my team's been able to continue that with all three of these gentlemen since then. But certainly understanding from a case study standpoint, understanding their challenges, especially day one challenges in terms of securing any funds that are out there related to those matters as quickly as possible with a trusted banking partner has helped us shape our solution to do just that. So understanding both the day one as well as the ongoing challenges from a fiduciary banking standpoint is critical so that we can continue to evolve and adapt our offerings to meet their needs both day one as well as at the end of the engagement.
So that's really interesting. You're talking about the work that actually it's brought you. It's improved your service, but also you've actually got clients from attending the conference and being involved in that. Has the conference led directly to any other work for all of you? I mean, I think, Chip, you've had work from it too, haven't you?
Yeah, so certainly, quite a few cross-pollinizations. Jonathan's used, I think, a number of folks who've been involved in the International Committee Conference for a bit. I think everybody on the call probably has.
Yeah, I mean, that's great because it shows that people really do directly benefit work-wise as well as all the networking, the experience. You can actually walk away with some work from this conference too, which is fantastic. So just to finish off, could each of you give me one fantastic reason why people should come to this conference? Your one top reason. So do you want to kick off, Martin?
Sorry, yeah, it's simple for me, Rebecca. It's in Miami, which is a great city, so you need no other reason.
Oh, that's persuaded me. What about you, Jonathan?
Well, I live in Miami, so it won't be the same reason as Martin. But it really, for me, it's essential for anyone who is a receiver in the U.S. to have these relationships with their counterparts offshore, because the entities that we be appointed over are so often located offshore or registered offshore. And I'm thankful to have those relationships. I have gotten business out of this, and the U.S. receivers historically aren't aware of that, and the offshore people are not fully educated of the business here. And this conference, I think, opens your eyes up to that. And really, that's a wonderful service we can provide to both places.
No, that's great. What about you, Martin?
I think that the conference honestly is the cream of the crop in terms of professional fiduciaries, both U.S. and international. I mean, it is truly the top, individuals in their fields. That's why they are often appointed and or chosen for these engagements. And just to be able to spend time with them in a room over the course of 2 days is enlightening and rewarding. Just to see them talk, banter, debate back and forth various cross-border challenges is just enlightening, and certainly from a networking standpoint and business development standpoint, it's rewarding as well.
Yeah, and of course you got the dinner, haven't you, the night before? So that's a good opportunity to get to know people as well.
Audience, for sure.
In fact, that's where the work gets done, isn't it? So, Chip, what about you? What's your top reason?
So as you've mentioned, this is designed to both have a lot of social elements. We've got a cocktail event the night before. We have dinner the night before. Lots of social time and lots of social interaction based on the format of the simulation, the actual day of the conference. And that social time is important because if I was to say, hey, if you wanted to get together and find a place where the biggest concentration of the movers and shakers in the fiduciaries that deal with cross-border matters and the professionals who serve them and some of the judges that appoint them and some of the regulators that nominate them, this conference is where it's going to be. This is where you're going to be able to meet the people, to learn from the people. The format itself is a simulation where we actually have folks on opposite sides of the biggest issues of the day making arguments, and it's just a fantastic way in that social setting to really learn to understand the nuances of how these things go. This year is going to be heavy emphasis, for example, on when we have conflicting interests between various types of professionals, the new Cayman restructuring officer, the traditional liquidator, U.S.-based federal equity receiver, and a U.S.-based debtor in possession of a Chapter 11 entity. You're going to see the interactions, the hammers people have, the carrots they have, the ways they can work together and really learn what constituents might want, and ultimately see if those parties can come together to have a stipulated agreement, or if the poor judge is going to have to pick a winner and three losers.
So come on, Chip, give us the details, when, where, and all the other stuff that people need to know. Where can they sign up?
So they need to go to the NAFER website, nafer.org, and they can follow the link from the events down to find the international conference. Sign up there. It is in Miami. Dinner and the cocktail event are March 1st. The session itself is the day of March 2nd. Quite a few folks will be getting together that evening as well, so my advice would be stay around until at least March 3rd, or maybe even the weekend in Miami, especially if you're from a cold place.
I think he's trying to persuade me.
Well, it would be a great spot. Again, it's a networking event. If you're looking for new clients, if you're looking for professional referrals, if you need help in this world, you say who should come. Again, it's all the fiduciaries, it's their attorneys and financial advisors, it's the folks who do valuations, the litigation support people, the investment bankers, the software people, the e-discovery. I mean, all those different realms of professional services are brought in by all of us when we get appointed, right? I mean, we most of our appointments touch somewhere along those lines, and the more geographically specific locations we have relationships with, the better off the chances of getting those referrals are, and the more personal relationships, the more smooth everything really rolls.
No, that's all brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys. And I really hope the conference is a big success for you. So nice to see you all. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you,
Thank
Rebecca.
you.